Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Shadowverse, the solo story mode. So it took me months to finally beat the final challenge, card challenge, as far as it was, the battle and actual gameplay of Chapter 9. It took me considerably less time. Frankly, it only took me about maybe 2 or 3 tries on 2 or 3 challenges to do all of Chapter 10 and Chapter 11, which just really goes to show that the final boss was such a major difficulty spike for Chapter 9. So, over those months, 2 new chapters were released in bits. Um, and so we're now going to a new world. As Aurorissa reunites with Yolwyn and the other comrades who fought in Aelion, together they beat back metallic vines, a host of droids, and the revamped Furies before finally confronting Baphomet. However, Baphomet had become Nerva's new vessel and acquired unspeakable power. He absorbs Verdia Magna, but just as all hope seems lost, the Furies regain their former selves and turn against him, which kind of points out that these characters, who don't ever really look like this, except for in this one image, um, would not have won had it not been just a stroke of luck that the Furies regained their former selves. Cornered Baphomet chose to end his own life, which also kind of goes to show that this game is so watered down in its story, it's not willing to have any of the main heroes kill anybody. They don't inherently have to kill somebody. They could have defeated him and imprisoned him. Certainly, that would have been fine too. Natera is at peace again, and Arissa and company prepare for the leap into the next world. And so we are finally at that point done with Chapter 9, which was the conclusion of not only Chapter 9, but Chapter 8, Chapter 7, Chapter 6, and Chapter 5. So over half, or nearly half, of all the chapters that have existed have been around Baphomet. So we can just start a whole new story. And the good news, one hopes, is that when this says Fate's Trigger conclusion, it's an actual conclusion. Now, there is some weirdness here in that we are going back to the split here. So, one chapter is for hero classes, and the other chapter is for hero classes. And arguably, if we come over here, nope, that's not the case. I was wrong. So they're going back to one chapter being for hero classes, and then there being a conclusion, and then the next chapter after that is a completely different hero classes. Um, and specifically, even more to that, they slowly added each of these characters. So it very well may be the case that they actually do add 4 more hero classes into the story, but we're not really playing as the main characters. The Bunny and Baron here, who are teamed up, are playing Swordcraft, whereas Miser here is playing Runecraft, and Selena is playing Havencraft, and then Ilganeo is playing Polocraft. This once again points to the idea that it might have just made more sense if the main heroes jumped into the brains of these new characters. Since these are new characters, I kind of love the way they're animated. And we'll get into that detail more, but what you're not seeing here is like bad animation. You're not seeing incredibly insane anime stuff with just decorations all over the place. It's much more reserved, much more reasonable. You are seeing guns, which is a little bit surprising, but this is a Western story, so we'll have to go with that. Now, the good news is since I've done all the challenges, I haven't actually followed any of the story, so we can just go through the story completely and and just let it play, as it were. And I'll throw in my commentary. I don't even think we really have to read the summaries, but I think we only get that once. Aelion and Nitera have finally found peace, but in Rivalia, a world of magic and gunpowder, dangerous winds are picking up, threatening to whip all creation into a frenzy. And that's 1.4 megabytes, so we know that's not going to be that long of a dialogue. See, is there an auto advance? Automatically play next line. I'm just going to set this. I don't think there's even that much to say.
And the reconcilers, they have advanced beyond trial, tribulation.
It definitely feels like they have.
Where they spread hope near
they are trying really hard to connect the old chapters with the new chapters, when frankly just a fresh break and a reboot, a soft reboot of the story would be fine. And what we want to keep an eye out here is this Western world. See, this chapter kind of feels like it should have been a teaser that would have been released a lot earlier.
Made upon happenstance, when a divinity brought life unto the Stone of Beginnings. The inheritors of
Never heard of Stone of Beginnings.
The Titans 3 stand atop civilization.
3 Titans.
Titan of force, not.
It's a person.
Titan of prosperity, Ishilindrig.
These are very German
Titan
names.
Of order, Vincent. The balance between the triptych is tenuous, teetering. Reveal is a powder keg, awaiting the inevitable spark of destruction.
So it kind of feels like the Guild War, except for this time there's only going to be 3 guilds instead of 5, which perhaps that's a good move.
Grand ambitions cross paths with discord.
Now the way these guys, Baron and Bunny, are depicted there is much more intricate than they were on the main screen.
Mirroring the soul of a man ready to spring into action for others.
So that's going to be like a sheriff guy.
Who live in the mist of darkness. The godlessness of the era is proof enough of hardship. Though dark dwellers waver,
the only gods that they've kind of mentioned have been very generic, and often it is Nexus and Nerva that are the only real gods worth mentioning.
The future and all times between, warped, wandering wretches that they are.
See, and I wonder if they do add 4 more characters, then this intro might get changed.
The omens will write themselves in due course.
So it seems like Orisa may be the only person that even made it to this planet.
Far flung are your lives to the whims of destiny.
If that's the case, then
how will your tale be told?
It would be very weird for them to try and do multiple chapters where each character is separated from the rest of the group and then come back to those characters. Honestly, it would probably be fine with me if Orisa got sent to this land and the next time she sees any of her friends, they are all dead. They just die in a mysterious, unexplained attack. As soon as the group got separated, they failed miserably. Like that's a harsh way to certainly tell a story, but it does eliminate a lot of the old characters that definitely I feel like should be eliminated.
Fools, ye heart-feeling, willful beings.
See, here we have Nerva.
Trifling with these worlds. keepers are meant to bind them.
Hmm.
Thou art meant to bind worlds.
So here we have Nexus coming back into the story, which is surprising.
Have protectors. I bide in my time now, waiting for but an opportunity. Now answer me. By what precept dost thou justify this amusement?
What's funny is Nexus probably could bind her planet, whatever her target is, which I assume was the original.
We obey only our directives. Who obeyeth what? 'Tis folly upon mine ears.
So Nerva's not even following her own rules, apparently. Did she just mute her?
Wilt thou sleep again, O Nexus of Serenity?
A lot of lip flaps here that seem like they seems like they are matching the lip flap to the Japanese.
What is our directive?
It's very weird.
Thy words are poison to us.
It'd be funny if they just started fighting each other.
Poison to thee and thee alone.
This would be fine if they literally just killed Nexus at this point.
Nor do they need reason, justification.
Wow, is that playing out very weirdly?
A dervish, a whirl.
So it does feel like Nerva is just very much toying with people.
Dance, mortals, to layeth bare your will.
The weird spelling doesn't work for me. Still.
That's how I heard it. You think those damn bandits are. Well, that was a hoof and a half, but we're finally here. Home sweet seat.
It's a rather wide train.
To avoid walking halfway across the prairie. But I bet we covered that distance and more just finding our car.
Sure enough, at least it beats sitting in academy class, doesn't it?
Dear, hush your mouth. Respectful folk call it economy class.
Sorry, hon. I'll try to be more courteous.
You should be thankful for those poor folks.
These are decently drawn characters. But
There's the humor I love. I knew there was a reason
they will probably never see him again.
What was that?
The fool man lives in rags. The wise man lives in silk. Them's the natural order of things, I reckon.
See, here we have the characters showing up. Again, way too much frills on their outfits still.
Take a look at this gun, friend. We've come to rectify the natural order.
Of course, it's weird to have a world of magic and guns.
Not today.
Bingo. Jeez, you think that was obvious enough?
Give him our name, Bun.
Bunny's hair being fiery red is
Bunny and
gonna
Barrel
stand out.
at your service. We prefer societal scale tippers to bandits, though.
I guess their guns are magical.
Scales have been leaning on your side for too long now, so we're here to make sure they swing back.
When takers get to taking, the take-backers gotta get to take-backing.
Now, let's check them pockets.
Bunny, that's a little rough for checking pockets.
So we assume these magic guns
Dirt in it.
These fish
don't
are awful small.
actually shoot people to death.
Well, ain't this car our last one?
Oh, slap my face. It's Bunny and Baron.
So here you've got
Maybe the day we catch
two
y'all.
characters
Mark my words.
with the same body model but different heads and different colored outfits. So we're not going to see as much repetition as we've seen in previous chapters.
Keep your distance, sir. I'll shoot.
We're after our shilling trig. We got no quandary with y'all.
Talking like you got ground to speak on, outlaw.
It's funny, they both seem like they have guns on their belts, but I'm not sure they really do.
Sorry, friend.
Did the bullets go right through him?
Nah, your partner's aim's just off is all.
Seems like they catch on. The bullets never hit us.
And she knocks out and
It's called
pistol
sending a
whips
message.
the
People
two
still think
deputies,
we're
even
your
though she
enemies.
shot the other two.
Well, ain't we?
Not for very much longer.
If you did,
Keep getting our name
if
out
Bunny
there.
didn't have the big coat,
Got it, Bear.
her outfit would, I think, be pretty much perfect. She could get rid of the shoulder emblem, too. Like, you get rid of this, get rid of the big coat. This is a perfectly acceptable outfit in my mind. Like, we don't need that extra. Now, on his side, you definitely get rid of the big shoulder pads. That is way too much there. Get rid of that with the big necklace and the shoulder pads with the frills. And I would say probably tone down or get rid of these ankle, thigh adornments. I don't know what that's supposed to be. It doesn't really seem like it's something that you would use to either ride horses, because if you were riding horses, the padding would probably be closer on the inside of the thighs. And it doesn't seem like something that would hold the guns, particularly since he has a long rifle style. As far as his coat frilling out, I'd be willing to live with that as it is. You might want to get rid of a little bit of frill and cut it off on the edge, because almost certainly this will become a thing that just overlaps. But the art style here looks pretty good. It's nowhere as bad as some of the previous art styles we've seen in this game for other characters. And Bunny's fiery red adornments has her stand out quite a bit. He could have maybe gone with a little bit more purplish hair, but he'll probably stand out all right as long as he doesn't look like too many other characters. You might have also gotten rid of the gloves as an issue, but not a big deal. And as far as the story, yeah, they're Bonnie and Clyde. They're trying to get people's attention.
Wild pair's back. They're at it more than ever.
Here we have a guy that's too tall again and stands out as he just doesn't look that interesting. Where you here have an anime girl that once again stands out and showing a lot of belly, but not crazy, not terrible. She has kind of a armor arm, and so does he. And this basically feels like a sawed-off shotgun.
You mean wretches? Never seen one myself. Folks say they're starting to pop up.
But yeah, his face looks pretty bad.
Hey, secrets don't make friends.
Never seen you around these
Big
parts.
giant belts in a lot of cases here. These are giant bullets. And then once again, armor to almost imply that they are
You don't scare me none at all.
like feudal swordcraft type characters.
What's wrong, Billy Badass?
Which is funny because these characters are supposed to be the swordcraft characters, and the idea of
Now out of my
swordcraft would be more of a militaristic feudal style of gameplay. So
Yep. Comes
I
business.
don't know how you're gonna have Bunny and Baron
Looks alive today.
turn out to be people in charge of an entire army.
What's your poison?
This guy, I think, is drawn pretty nicely, but he doesn't quite match. He's a little too soft in the color tones.
Where's she at?
We're gonna have a ton of dialogue here with Western style talk.
Wow, somebody sure talks big.
And they didn't bother to draw her in a second pose, so now she's awkwardly holding this gun upward. And there we've got the Titan, or a Titan.
Get back here. I wasn't done with you yet.
And I guess they're terrified of her.
Just you wait.
And see, this is a nice outfit. Little red streak to individualize this. I don't know why they're flipping the image still, but there's just no insane over design here. This is really conservative. I think it's pretty great. Like, you're getting a little fancy. You get a fancy coat that you could lose if necessary.
You little vixen. What did you do with my gun?
This is not right.
Fear. It's my favorite thing in this whole wide world. And my favorite people know fear.
This definitely feels like a world where everybody's just gonna victimize everybody.
Song and dance are begging for your life. Sweet as a choir of angels to my ears.
She almost feels like she might be a vampire. And see, if you're gonna have 4 hero classes, you could then turn 3 of the bad guys as 3 of the remaining 4
Is obedience.
uh,
Fear is
hero classes. That would leave only 1 hero class to not copy.
That being said, don't worry all y'all's little heads too much.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if that's like Forestcraft.
Fear factories alive.
Forestcraft is such an introductory class anyways.
Any of you ever step out of line, I won't pardon even a whisper of transgression.
When I don't know what these cubes are supposed to show, or represent.
Hey, stud. Didn't kill your friend, did I?
Apparently,
His name was Goose Shot Wood. Had a lot of confidence in himself.
Did he now? Too bad he lost
sounds
his
like he
gun,
just was completely killed.
huh? Oh, kid.
You two try to keep the rough stuff to a minimum, huh? You'll scare the other customers away. Not every day we get Titan around these parts.
Oops. Looks like I offended the owner.
More like scared. Nobody in their right mind would go against one of the 3 most powerful people in Reveal. You control the muscle, Schillendrig holds the money, and Vincent keeps you 2 off of each other's throats.
This is another one of those cases
Our fearsome overlords.
where, like, Revel
Plenty of
could be an entire planet, or it could be a country, or it could just be a city.
like you.
And you just kind of never gonna know.
Stirring up trouble. How about you drink up before the ice melts?
Not bad. This saloon serves the best guilt in town. You did perfect on your last assignment, Spectre. Your reward will be delivered to your hideout of cause.
Appreciate that.
So Baron was coming here to meet her.
Cute little face of yours. I've known you so long already, but you've always got your jamming on.
Just a parlor trick. Can a woman of your stature see through that in a blink?
Not when you weave it so seriously, hun. Besides, what would be the point? Always more fun to watch a dancing boy disrobe of his own volition.
So apparently he's got some kind of magic that hides his
I wish
appearance.
you'd let me meet this darling partner of yours. Too bad men love keeping their skeletons in the closet.
As opposed to coffins?
Clever, ain't you? Well, thanks for the
Well,
drink. My boys
despite
soon
the
job. We're up against a pretty quick whip.
despite the weird
You'll
dialogue,
get straight to it.
certainly with the
Take care
country
now,
talk,
Ta-ta.
this kind of feels like a better written story than what we've had before.
Gun who called me the cursed queen. I got a special box waiting for you.
The so she's just attacking somebody else.
Fearsome benefactor, that one. You might as well be doing business with the devil, boy.
Death and taxes, mister. Can't avoid business.
Yeah. Of course, the story should be better written.
Where'd your partner
Like
run off to?
that is
Eats like a starving dog.
definitely a case.
Finishing a few errands.
Like
Should be back
it would be much worse if the newest expansions were worse written.
This dumb town ain't got nothing worth anything in it.
I guess Revelia probably isn't just a town.
Whoa, that didn't sound great. Excuse me, honeysuckle. Huh? Me? Care to have your fortune told? Only takes a
And this
moment.
character's named Florise.
The devil's peekaboo, eh? What kind of stuff can you see? Oh, where the wind might take you.
See, this kind of looks like Tetra if you redrew Tetra as a different character. Or she has a little lantern piece that looks like Tetra's staff.
After a time of great strife, you will face a turning point. The scales will begin to tip, and the world will begin to tremble.
Overly designed for a secondary character.
I suppose most
So she
fortunes
must
sound
play a
most
bigger
direct at
role.
first. This might bring things into focus for you later. What's that? A bullet? Think of it as a good luck charm. Do try to keep it close.
And then she just straight up disappears.
Did I drift off? Wouldn't be the first time.
Of course, this is
Ooh-wee. Sure am starving though.
this is a world of magic, so
Who's back?
I don't know why she would be particularly surprised
Oh, you're right
or
on time.
disbelieve magical things.
Well, yeehaw! Let's grub out already.
I would say this country
The usual,
talk
barkeep.
does seem to
Thought
be
you might.
over the top. Like they're throwing in a lot of jargon
Sure, a
here.
lady like to treat us, and you might finally catch a romantic friend.
I'd rather you clean your plate than flap your jaw.
Oh, now, a joke's a joke.
Sassafracking kid.
Yeah.
Now, where was I?
A meal tomorrow
And
is
so-
bought with today's sin. Time to
Amen to
dig
that.
in.
Interesting the dialogue talked over each other.
May I come in?
There is a possibility here that Bunny might be more of a daughter or sister, I would guess, to Baron instead of a Bonnie and Clyde lover situation.
That pair will be the death of me.
Should we make a search
They
party?
shouldn't put just cough in the dialogue. It should be in parentheses.
Yes, that
If you
is
just say
the
cough, then you assume he says the word cough.
Use money. Town is full of rats. Cheddar will get 'em to talk.
Sir, it's just, rumors say Not-Not's backing them. All the thugs are basically her henchmen. You want us to beat it out of them?
That's unnecessary. They'll crack like walnuts. All people do when gold gets involved.
None of the worlds before this really
As a last resort,
seem to have any
suppose we could
real
only
currency
That boy
or
has a
economy worth mentioning.
way with vermin, you might say.
So
Hear you loud and
it's a little weird for them to throw in money at this point. I guess they did mention some money in the Guild Wars
This frail cage hurts like hell.
section. The question, I guess, is this going to be a case where one of these characters is a purgation Nerva person, or is it going to turn out that none of them are actually under the influence or working for Nerva or Nexus? I wouldn't even be surprised if it turns out that Nexus and Nerva have controlled a couple of the Titans in an effort to potentially fight against each other using pawns. Isling Drig here is, I'll never be able to, it's like ISIS chillin' Drig. I don't know if this really is a German word or if this is literally just different English words put together. His art design, again, much more subtle than we've seen for main characters. Like, this seems very, very reasonable. Just plain white pants with one anime belt for no reason, an untucked shirt with stripes going up and down, a reasonable number of buttons, a reasonable amount of adornment, red glasses and a unique hairstyle, white gloves. This is really, really subtle. I really wish they had done that with some of the main characters. Maybe that's the next move, is that in the new expansions, they will decide to have the characters specifically be more subtle, and maybe we will get new skins, as it were, for the main characters that are more subtle. I wish there was a way to zoom out. This world, as we see it, has a big tower that looks very much like the worlds we've been to before, where there was one big central thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was still in the same planet as the Natura and the Robot Land. Or this could just be a completely different place and they could just be tracing over the same things over and over again. Either one is possible. Let's keep moving because this is going to take a very, very long time if I'm not careful. Yeah, it could be that she's his little sister.
The way you were putting it down, Barkeep looked like he'd seen a ghost.
Oh, like you didn't do your fair share of grubbing. You ate a whole bucket full of gizzards yourself.
Only because you ate all the other meat in the whole damn county. Owner says they won't be able to recover stock for 2 plum days.
This is kind of pointless dialogue.
Not-Not's lackeys paid us a visit, by the by.
I feel like they, from chapter to chapter, probably have too much gibberish.
They came with orders for our next job.
That's unnecessary.
There's a train departing an hour from now, and we're gonna nab its cargo here. Looks like we might have to watch out for some fancy poke named Zessel Vinci.
Oh, well, how's about heading out after a nap?
Nope, gotta get a move on. Have to make time to find a new hideout.
Just because Not found us? She's a damn titan. She'll find the next one too, you know.
The alpha wolf rarely makes the kill and bite fun. It's her pack I'm worried about. They could sell our info to any old varmint.
Well, we do the same.
Nah, not just money we're after. Come on, we better haul tail.
Yep. Not a lot of conversation to have really on something like that. And see, this image definitely looks like the same alleyways we've seen before in the Guild Wars. Which I'm calling that chapter Guild Wars, but that's probably not its actual name.
Would have been better if we'd avoided coming back here at all.
Yeah, there's definitely feels like there's some significant amount of tracing that happens as far as the backgrounds.
Don't think about any funny business now. We've got guns aimed on the book.
Interesting.
How much time left till our train departs again?
So she doesn't actually aim at him. And yet she hits him.
50 minutes, give or take.
You no good sons of hell. This means war.
So at this point, it seems like we're getting repeated characters.
Yep, but don't get roughed up now.
Like I ever do.
She just jumped like Latika does.
And then again, no such thing as too many gizzards.
Y'all even trying?
So she can move like super fast.
She's using jamming. I can't get a beat on her.
Or I guess maybe that's what jamming is.
Nice one there, Hoss.
Interesting.
Bye-bye now.
So they posed her very much to put the gun pointing upward, which pretty much looks like she's shooting him directly in the head.
He's probably half expecting us to target his train today. We'll have to beat.
Daggum scoundrels.
It's like
Where the
just
hell did they get off to?
repeated underlings.
We'll cover twice as much ground that way.
Daggone it! Why does Baron always stick us with these wang-doodle jobs? Then again, the rewards do keep my belly full. I guess Titan work has its titanic perks.
She devil. Lord Icy sends his regards.
Huh? Watch out!
And so Orisa shows up and immediately sides with very well the bad guys. Her outfit does look like it might be slightly different, like her armband might be different.
Sorry, was I not supposed to save you? Forget it. Thanks for the assist. You didn't get so much as a hair off my chin, thanks to you.
And they're flipping the image again, so she has her bow in a different hand.
Just saying. Boy, you sound real funny. Where's your neck of the woods? Would you believe me if I said a different world? My name's Arisa. What's yours? Huh? Your face is blurry? What? Ha! Sorry. That's just Baron's magic. Can't let anybody know who I am. How come? Could you please tell me more about...
So apparently we can see their faces, but nobody else can see their faces.
Don't get reckless. She's a wily one.
Either that or Orisa can recognize that people's faces are blurry and other people won't.
You go to the sheriff's office, Kay? Don't walk up to people you don't know.
And again, we have the non-animated coat.
Time to head out.
You did well.
These stories
Now the real
just
fun.
love to drag on. Really, really love to drag on.
Yep. Don't mind if we do. Hold on tight, bun.
Then you have these images that
Hold on, Bear.
clearly were promo images. She's not holding on. She's not even sitting in the cheat. It's sitting in the seat.
No way they'll hit us while we're cruising in this baby. Val here's equipped with arcane tires and dequipped with the stock limiters.
She's quick as hell. I love it.
As long as we keep burning rubber like this, we'll have our next job licked before the moon smiles.
You're damn skippy, Baron. Smash that accelerator.
Like a hammer to a nail.
There definitely feels like somebody was in love with this story when they were writing it. Which I can't blame anybody for that. Like, you should love the story you're writing, but I'm definitely not following them on that journey. Let's see, we're at chapter 5 of 11 chapters. It's really, really slow from my perspective. Like, we are just at the setup.
Born into this lonesome
And of course, if you were actually struggling to beat any of the actual battles, which we haven't even had a single battle yet, that would certainly be irritating.
A promising future. Don't make me laugh. I did find a nesting ground, though it was full of other drifters and grifters. Not a place where you'd want to grow up.
Yeah, I'm really just sitting back and listening here.
Boy, Reveal belongs to the Titans. They got a tight grip on the neck of the rich, and a strong boot on the back of the poor. You either get the life squeezed out of you, or stomped out of you.
At a certain point, I kind of feel like if you're talking
But I never understood why
so in such a way where it's so jargon filled, it kind of feels like you're putting on airs. Like you're intentionally throwing in jargon, which then makes you feel insincere. At the very least, if it is sincere that this is how they all talk, then it's just unrelatable at this point because there's just so much jargon. I feel like...
I have a child. What'll she do if I die?
Let's see, here's a nicely animated lady.
I did.
And he's just gonna shoot the lady.
And murdered.
Hmm.
Slaughtered.
Which puts him very much like the assassin made.
Not a single soul was left.
Hmm.
Spectre. That's what they called me. Because I'd creep in and start taking lives. No matter who they belonged to. Not a bad moniker, I gotta say. I was dead on the inside.
It is just hard to relate to so much jargon. And that's probably why I would never really want to watch a hard science sci-fi show or read a hard science sci-fi book. It would just be so unrelatable. And most sci-fi stories or fictional stories in general, they tend to limit the jargon, so you don't have a ton of off-putting story.
Of course, I was strung right along, straight into a trap.
He's using some kind of infernal magic. Fire everything you got.
Yep. From the moment we're born into this lonesome dust bowl, we have damn near everything taken from us. The fear
I feel like his backstory should have been probably at the very beginning of this chapter.
Spreads faster too. Well, I was tired of feeling fear. So I just closed my eyes.
I guess this is where Bunny is gonna save the day.
They came at last. But to my chagrin, there weren't no lawmen staring me down anymore. They'd already keeled over. Instead, a spunky little angel turned and smiled at me.
Got him.
Who in the hell?
So Bunny saved him.
Hey, you.
She took a confident step forward.
Let's blow this whole country up for all it's ever done.
Her eyes were lit up, like the spark of a gunpowder trail winding along to detonate a stack of dynamite. And boy, did my plans explode. Meeting her was something dirtier than fate, something grittier than destiny. But it was a road
I feel like the writing is pretty decent here.
So I took her hand. When fortune gives you a saddle, you better ride.
You are awkwardly referring to her as a saddle.
Had hands around my neck and boots on my back. For the first time ever, I felt the winds of change breeze my way. And I knew if I added a little squall of my own, we might be able to tip the scales. Look, if we do this, I won't commit no sins for myself no more. I'll sin for the sake of the world.
What's the world got to do with it?
See, it
Like
kind
you
of makes
said,
the
we gotta blow it up. Blow it all up.
makes the argument that
Yep.
Bunny may
My
be
eyes were open.
Nova's agent.
This world was ours.
Inherently, the
We
problem
just
with
had
a
to
story
take it
like this
back.
is that we're going to have so many bad guys.
I like
Any
the
of
way
them
you
could
think.
be Nova's agent, and in fact,
You
if
might
we
dub me
run
Spectre,
into somebody who acts
but feeling the
s-
warmth of
s-
her hand,
particularly
I found the living part of my soul.
nice, they probably are going to
After
be
that,
Nova's agent.
We went on a rampage, but a calculated one. Robbing the haves, giving to the have-nots. After a few successful jobs, we found ourselves with an unexpected admirer cum patron. Not. A bona fide titan.
Become my dogs, and I'll give you the chance to bite the biggest bull in town. A Shilendrig. Take him for all he's worth and knock his candy ass off the throne.
I told her yes on two conditions. The first, I made plain. We're not your bloodhounds forever. But the second, I kept to myself. All the titans die. You included. I Shilendrig, Not, Vincent. We're taking everything back from y'all. Even your necks.
See, the problem with this story
Going back
is
after
that
you make a decision like
we
that.
haven't been shown how
But that kind of
evil
conviction, folks,
the Titans are compared
that's
to
how you should
how
live your
evil
life.
Bunny and Baron are. We've seen Bunny and Baron kill lots of people so far.
Fear the gaze that leads you. Marry the bride that needs you. Sweeter words bind us. Careful they don't bleed you.
Job time, Bun. Keep your eyes forward here.
I almost wonder if maybe
All right there.
the bigger twist here, and this is probably too big of a twist to suspect Shadowverse would do, it would be funny if Bunny is actually brainwashed Baron and he never was the Spectre. He never killed anybody. He just feels like he did until she met him and then brainwashed him into thinking he was a bad guy. And thus she was using him. It's a very weird story to do. Like, if you're going to do a Bonnie and Clyde story, you basically have to make it so it feels like they are perfectly legitimate in their actions. And at the moment, the Robin Hood aspect to this, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, works, but the killing of people doesn't. You kind of need to make them pacifists, or just say that their magic only knocks people out. And you kind of also can't have them working for people that seem to kill people. This is literally the first battle, chapter 6. So just 5 chapters in a row of dialogue. That is quite a lot. And honestly, I think there's only 2 or 3 battles in this entire chapter for this characters.
On the train and take stuff, right? What's the big deal, Baron?
It's transporting coal. We interrupt their supply, and the train yard that baby connects to will be good as dead.
Why can't we just destroy the whole yard instead? It's like we're plucking leaves when we should be shucking roots.
Security's too tight. Better to pluck leaves than dig our own graves.
Okay.
A lot of dialogue. This points out where
I see.
how
Trains are coming.
a game like a trading card game or any action-based game, and it's a stretch to call a collectible card game an action-based game. It just really goes to show how visual novels are not well suited for stories like this. Like, there's just a ton of talk here for characters who should be shooting people left and right. This would make a lot more sense if you were playing the same story as a on-rail shooter or first-person shooter or third-person shooter.
As for the rest of you,
And there's that
stay
same
calm
woman
and I
he
won't
has
do
already
anything
shot,
drastic.
and a new woman
Shut up, sit
with
down, and don't move if you want to go home to
goggles
see your
and
kids.
a cape
You
and
can tell 'em
too
Mommy and
much.
Daddy were delayed.
But see, that
Any of y'all wanna
woman
act the hero,
on the
I
left
won't stop you.
is the exact same
Children
woman
are
they had
gonna
already
ask
used.
questions when they see you walk home full of holes. And trust me, folks, I don't want to shoot any of y'all poor sinners. Only enemy I've got is these fine gentle thugs right here.
Well, I guess we have a female underling,
Sure
which
as the sky is blue.
that's nice.
Pleasure's mine.
Although they've already kind of blown that idea because we fought like 4 or 5 of the same two type of underlings.
Loose trigger.
I would be a little upset if this was a
Y'all need to pay better
world where they decided to not shoot women. So
My gun.
I'm happy for that.
Gun.
Wasn't that hard, friend?
And have a little bit of gender equality in the bad people you're shooting, in the bad guys.
My bullets ain't working.
What the hell's happening?
Yeah,
Y'all
a
make
lot of
fleas look bright as a new
repetition of the same characters, though, character models. There's really no need for that.
pen. That should have drawn
There's a
some of the
better
heat.
story you can write to adjust for that.
Oh, I missed ya. Broadside and all.
And you are?
Zesselwench, in the flesh. Nice to make your acquaintance.
Seeing this
Another
feels like
of
a
that
guy
Triggs lapdogs, I take
that
it.
probably could have been a
Judging from
Titan.
your parlance, you must be one of Not-Not's lapdogs.
I'll keep you wondering.
What spectacular magic you wield. I've never seen someone
This
so
guy
full
looks a
of
lot like
fearless
Aizen from the Bleach anime.
It does seem a bit uncouth, though. Here I am, face bare to the world.
The coat is over the top once again, but the outfit and design's
Smile ain't much worth
very unique and not crazy.
Now that feels right mean-spirited to yourself, sir.
But we're getting back to the same magic animations we've seen in previous chapters quite a bit.
Say that bodes well for you in your line of work.
And the story just ends there until the fight happens. And this was the only interesting character so far, so that's why there was a battle there.
Same to you. Never saw anybody cut my bullets clean in half.
My skill ain't much worth complimenting. I was made to be this good after all.
His
Over your average human, I've got increased musculature, stronger bone structure.
like
larger
knives
brain
and
capacity,
swords
better
seem to
vision
not
and
really
hearing,
play a big
faster
role
reflexes, and
in this
nerves of
world.
steel. Only cost me half my lifespan.
In other words, you're not the type that really cares about an early death.
You shouldn't worry about my death. You'd have to hit me first.
Shoot the vomit. Shoot him dead.
Eat sin and lead.
Yeah, this is kind of a great point
It's a
where
strange way of making fools of us all.
throwing in more underlings and having an extra sentence is unnecessary. Like, he could have just easily
Talker, this one.
jumped to this point.
Share of them, though.
It is a bad
Like,
habit,
they're
I admit.
desperately trying to have more action in the story when there should just be more action in the gameplay.
I'm still new to these non-lethal gigs. But I got years of experience in your profession. And I've known a lot of ugly bucks who thought they could see through damn near anything. Now I got a lot of bullets in my chamber here. Let's see if you can count them all.
So here we've got, he's shooting multiple bullets at the same time, magically.
Curse you!
Again, just extra dialogue. It's unnecessary.
Oh, bless my heart. You're the Spectre, aren't you?
I took off that mantle a long time ago.
You can't discard a namesake like that.
Then he jumps magically away.
You died, but sure as hell is hot. Here you are.
Most people believe that ghosts are bound to the land where they fell.
A lot of what's being said is also just gibberish. And
that's some impressive jamming.
It's
you force the illusion to stabilize,
interesting.
To mix with apparition.
It's interesting dialogue when you hear it, but it's not interesting dialogue when you actually try to integrate it into what's actually going on and comprehend it. Of course, there's a lot of forms of entertainment that where just a bunch of jargon and slogans are spouted, and it doesn't mean anything at all.
Bring back any memories, Spectre?
See, that's like the bartender anime character model.
You that new to the job? Ooh. Get out of here. He'll kill you without so much as a blink.
Yeah.
You're more benevolent than I thought. I'd better keep picking that sweet brain of yours.
Just a lot of talk here.
A way to best
like,
you, of course.
No reason to have 5 chapters happen before this point, then have this super long conversation.
They ain't got no weaknesses.
It should have picked one or the other.
Oh joy! Speak of the devil and she shall appear.
Am I interrupting something, or?
Bunny's voice acting is very unique, but I feel like it matches.
How long has it been since I tasted a sweeter defeat?
Did he get you?
Nah. Can I smoke this weasel?
By all means.
All right.
So I assume she just murdered him.
Double tapped and gone for good.
Yeah, she just straight up murdered him.
Let's skedaddle there.
This is a weird story to tell. It's really, really weird to have Shadowverse actively start to censor the animation and the lewdness of their cards when they're also giving you, as their newest solo story, characters who are literally murdering people. We really hadn't had too much of that before. Roly Poly was like the only character that seemed to really have died and been murdered. Maybe the Furies, but those were robots.
And this sign here says Spurred On Saloon and Social House.
I reserved the whole shebang.
On second thought, it's a total heap.
Part of the charm, surely.
So,
Hey, what's up with all these boxes? Giving me the willies.
this is the new.
Well, you try picking up after a Titan. And how dare y'all come back?
Oh, hey, barman. We'll take steaks, please.
Right away. If I were still in business, does it look like I can serve you anything?
Oh, come on. Just serve us whatever you've been grubbing on.
That food's my food. Hands off.
So is this supposed to be their new?
Angry for this. Give it.
Is this their new hideout?
I said hands off. Were y'all raised in a barn or what?
I never can get enough of those gizzards.
See, it feels like if you're gonna have a bartender and
I'll get your food. You damn
then
bandits are just like
you should have just had a unique character, or at least a unique color palette.
The both of y'all better hush up now. Or do you want me to spin this food?
Sorry.
And certainly it's weird for them to turn into likable characters when we just saw them robbing a train and murdering somebody.
Crying. Probably because he was so happy you loved his cooking.
Happy to be of service.
They're also jumping around to a lot of different backgrounds for no good reason.
Finally. No place like home. Boy, we worked our butts plumb off today.
Our next job's coming up soon.
Music
How about some
is
shut-eye
fine, but
music?
it's not anything particularly amazing. I'm not really listening to it.
Today was killer. Felt like a week squished into 24 hours. Earlier, I met this weird gal. She was cute, but definitely weird.
Are we gonna have
I met this twisted
more
lady.
of?
She gave me this. Huh? Where'd I put that strange bullet she gave me?
I was wondering if she'd even remember that.
After that, that's when we attacked those two cars.
Sure did.
What's that bring our count up to?
11.
What number hideout are we on?
Or 5th.
Yeah, we really don't need Bunny to hit on Arissa, and it's fine one way or the other, but it does seem very just pointless to have
Night.
lesbianic overtones when there's no romance,
Boots on us again.
straight or otherwise, that's likely to ever happen in these stories. Not really. It's always going to just play it off as friendship at most. Boy, this is slow too. It's like gonna take an hour and a half just to go through 1/4 of the chapters.
Mama once told
And we'll
me,
start to
"Baby,
probably
you know,
see a lot of
you are
repeated
one of
stuff.
everything. You're cute as a button when you sleep. You've got sweet little squirrel cheeks when you eat. And one day you're gonna make a fine woman.
So was her mother murdered,
I love living at home with Mama.
or is
made
she
our
just
house
a
happy and
spoiled,
warm. One day,
privileged
she told me
girl?
about a god who ruled Rivale long before our time. Before they came along, there wasn't even a pebble in Rivale. But then, they made the world what it was. Guess they ran out of gas or something, because they split into 3 separate people. Those were the Titans, and we owe them everything.
So there is like a actual religion
They did
around
a good enough job. Mama found
the
something to
Titans.
smile about in their world. You know, I loved her smile.
There, once again,
Come on.
repeatedly using characters, skins.
Chop up all you dough and we'll give you a quick death. Please, leave my baby alone. Just leave my baby.
I can still see it clear as day. Mama's hands were stained. She was breathing heavy on account of the running, and the smell was terrible on account of the trash in the alley. That's what this world really was. A place where the strong trapped the weak. I ain't never forgot that. Never.
I don't know what to say here.
Lady? Like shooting feathers off a goose.
Hey, save some lid, damn it!
Huh? Don't you tell me what to do.
It's weird. All I could
Then
think
he
about
shoots
was
his
the
own-
Mama used to cite to me. It was
his
her
own
favorite one.
partner.
Though she always told me I had to be older before she could explain it. Kiss the hand that feeds you. Fear the gaze that leads you. Marry the bride that needs you. Sweeter words bind us. Careful they don't bleed you.
Yeah, and they're definitely in love with that rhyme.
1, 2, 3 little geese dead and gone.
And see, they're implying that the scoundrel is the guy that was killed. Just that got killed a lot earlier in this story, which doesn't really mean anything.
You little mongrel.
I reached for it, squeezed the trigger. The fireworks shot out into the air, looking beautiful as it blazed, and hit him right between the eyes.
So yeah, that can't be the guy that was killed earlier, even though it looks exactly like that guy.
I knew it would have been better had I gone to the next life with Mama. For some reason, my body wanted me to live.
In a weird way, this almost feels like all of these stories are just plays where the actors are having to play multiple roles, which is really, really weird for an animated story, and it doesn't work at all. Like,
I hated living every day, knowing that I just have to keep dealing with tomorrow.
at the very least, if this was a case that every chapter in the solo story was actually a play with a limited number of actors, they would at the very least change their appearance, change their outfits.
Why did it come to this? Heck if I know. That's why I'm tired of living.
So yeah, we're just getting Bunny's backstory.
Dying is a whole nother story. Only takes 2 shots, just 2, and then you're knocking on death's door.
Why does it take 2 shots?
That 1 shot's a risk. After all, Mama's murderer got away with just a scar on his forehead. I thought long and hard about finding him, get myself some revenge, but I was tired, and he was probably already rotting in a field somewhere.
So he was the guy that was murdered earlier in the story, which that doesn't really mean anything.
Should I go through with it? Die now or leave it till later? Honestly, didn't matter to me. Everything was so collar-whacked I could laugh.
It feels like
Despite all that, our God above must have been one hell of a loon.
they're trying to imply that these guns only kill people if you shoot somebody twice. But that seems very much not to be the case.
Go back to the grave where you belong.
What's funny is that she literally does not double tap, as it were, in this next.
But I could tell from the way he stood in front of those lawmen that he wanted to die. Thought maybe he'd want to go down with somebody else. I pulled the trigger twice. Once for his hope and once for mine.
See, so she shot 2 people with 2 shots, where it should have been 4 shots.
Hey, you! It was like he was wrapped in mist, but his eyes were deep and black and crying. Let's blow this whole country up for all it's ever done. Eat or be eaten. Destroy or be destroyed. Pull the trigger or the trigger pulls you. That'd been my lot in life.
This is fairly repetitive content, but it's not. This is not the bad kind of repetition, because we're seeing it from a different perspective and getting more insight.
And this damn world.
Blow it all up, huh?
Of course, none of this story really matters as far as actually playing Shadowverse. You definitely don't need to play any of the single player stuff. It just gives you some gold and maybe some card packs and some other things that aren't that important.
Like say, blowing the whole kit and caboodle to high hell.
And honestly, the amount of gold it gives you is probably not worth the time you'd have to invest to do all of the solo story.
What's the world got to do with it?
Particularly later on.
Like you said,
Doing daily quests is much more of a rewarding way to get gold.
It was all ours for the taking.
Although I would also argue Shadowverse really is not a game designed to give you a great experience as a free-to-play player only. You always kind of feel like you're a little short on cards, and when you open card packs, you don't get as many new good cards as you would like. There's a lot of repetition, a lot of garbage, junk cards.
Part of me wants to continue this way forever. Kiss the hand that feeds you. Fear the gaze that leads you. Marry the bride that needs you. Sweeter words bind us. Careful they don't bleed you. I see what your poem means now, Mama. It's about death, ain't it?
What? I don't know how you get that poem to be about death, but I have to assume that is just some Japanese translation issue. Like, marry the bride that needs you, kiss the hand that feeds you, fear the gaze that leads you. Like, I don't know how any of that is about death. That definitely feels like this poem might have been a Japanese poem that they are trying very hard to translate into something English and make sense. There is also an aspect, certainly in the cards that have come out for this expansion, of some ghost-like characters and skeletons. Like, they still have to play to the necromancy, necrocraft players. So there's still ghosts and things like that, and not a ton of vampire cards. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't really see any.
Yes'm. Well, that and a bit more.
Oh yeah? Is your 2-bit magic why my head's starting to hurt?
Think of it like a little extra protection. There, finished.
So he's casting. He's the one that casts the spell. She doesn't know how to do it.
Sure does. And the job starts now. You get in this box and don't get out till I tell you the coast is clear.
Wow, a box. I'm like a princess in her palanquin.
Cursed Queen's almost here. In now.
Okay.
And I don't know where the story's really gonna go unless Not Right just kills Spectre completely.
Sorry about my boys selling your information. Awful discourteous of them, I know.
People are ruled by money. That goes double for your man.
Good help is hard to find, even if you pump them full of fear. I brought you an apology gift, though, if you're willing to take it.
That's a weird motion.
I hope this is a box I can open. Even better if it's filled with cash.
Oops, it's not.
Right. What's my next assignment?
You're bored of all this train heist business, right? I want you to go after Icy's personal guard. They're a pestilence. They give me wrinkles with their meddling. I suspect you'll run into one of his assassins again. But more importantly, keep your eyes peeled for the wretches. Word around town is they've been on the rise.
Got it. Your wish is my command.
I don't care.
A vampire story in the West probably wouldn't be much different than a vampire story in medieval times or in modern times. I don't think too much really changes there.
Oh, you know how birds chirp, but you work a little harder and this whole town might just rise up.
Yeah.
Well, I suspect you won't disappoint me.
It's not a lot being said these days.
Now, love your little heart. You better make that name sparkle.
Hey, is that box from knocking out a dead body?
Somebody crossed her. She's putting pressure on me. Best I figure, at least.
She loves to overdo it, don't she?
Just
away,
a
Baron.
ton of
No.
dead bodies.
Touch it, it unfolds, and the blood and gore gets everywhere.
That's disgusting.
That was an obvious lie, Bun. The only one who can open it is Not.
She gives me the heebie-jeebies.
So apparently the boxes she can make are pretty big.
Check your
Either that or she squashes.
Orders should be in there somewhere.
Whoa! How'd that happen?
The Cursed Queen is the personification of force. Probably nothing for her to sense your presence.
Yep, heebie-jeebies.
We don't have a problem yet. She still hadn't seen your face.
If we go after Shillandrig's goons, won't that mean we've got 2 of these lunatics after us?
Yep. But this Titan's been wrecked by disease. He's not a direct threat. I reckon that means he would hire guards.
Just too slow.
To make up for his lack of power.
It's really asking a lot to even in auto mode, without doing any of the battles, require somebody to go through an hour and a half of dialogue. Particularly when you're limited to not really being able to show a really good animation or have actual characters that are unique.
Everything that comes through this town is
or just have the budget for really good writing or good audio or good animation or anything. Everything is just so low budget when you have these like visual novel style stories told to you. And this is not even the worst of the worst by any means. This is actually very well done on visual novel scales from what I've seen. But it still is nowhere as good as if I was watching an hour-long animated movie or watching an hour-long worth of cutscenes inside of a AAA game. It's just a lot of talk too. So this is our second battle that we would have done on chapter 9.
Please, we need to get on the train. There's good doctors on the other side of town.
I'm afraid I can't allow that. So long as you don't have a ticket, I can't let you board.
They have to ride a train to get to the other side of town.
Nobody can help us over here.
How big is this town?
Besides, if you don't have the money for a ticket, how on this great earth are you going to afford a doctor?
Nobody said anything about the like eclipse in the background.
Mighty awful. All part of the Titan's plan, sure enough.
They're not mentioning the giant
Cool it, Miser. You think you can take on
rock formation in the background.
Well, somebody's got to stand up.
I understand how you feel, but there's
And this is the first time we've even seen any of the other characters play in the story.
Someone, anyone, please help us. My wife has to get on this train.
Dear, there's no need to make a ruckus.
Have mercy. There's got to be a way.
These are all scoundrels. And see, now we've got some new character deputies, and We see him for half a second, and
Stop crying. Tears don't mean a thing in this world.
Yep, they don't mean a damn thing.
Huh? May I help you with something?
You might change your tune after you hear our names. Bunny and Baron.
I think we've probably hit a couple of your trains already.
Bunny and Baron! Here?
Are they crazy enough to openly defy Schillendrig?
What do we do? Shoot him?
Hold out.
The rich have money to dry their tears, but they won't spare a single buck to wipe your blood. You think that's right? You think that's justice?
There they are! Back me up!
Hang on to this for us.
Money? But
that's money you earned. We just got it back for you. Now scram.
we'll never forget this.
So he does actually give money.
Someday.
You'll get no mercy from us, bandits.
We'll send you straight to hell.
They're riled up now, Bear.
Let's split up. I'll be the diversion. You hit their garrison. Meet back at the hideout afterward.
Yep. This is just really, really slow, though. It's like nothing to say. It's just... It's too much.
Well, bye-bye.
And yeah, the other characters and their interactions should have played a role. We should have seen the other characters in the story by now, besides just Miser.
Nothing more than common outlaws.
But
I won't argue with that. But when the system upholds such rampant corruption, well,
see, the thing here is, for each one of these guys, there's
for example,
3, maybe 4 different heads, face models, or body models that would easily let you just have each underling be the only person they fight in that one chapter. There wouldn't be really any problem with that. We don't need to have 5 or 6 copies of the same person just so they can have more shots. They just need to have the characters bounce around and miss more often. See, here's another main story character.
Who are you supposed to be? Took the question fresh out of my mouth. What kind of bandit goes around dressed like a nun?
That's what a nun looks like in this world?
It's been a day, but I mean you no harm. Oh, I like the sound of your fiddle. I'll leave you to it. Just, I wouldn't go down that way, if you catch my drift. Sure. Take care now. Well, that ended a lot better than it usually does. Anyway, Garrison.
Excuse me, miss.
Huh?
Your little double-shot antics, bless my heart, they were truly painful.
So she didn't actually kill him.
Well,
She tried to.
worth much anyhow. You're his weakness, the Spectre's core. I'd love the chance to test your mettle.
Coming after me to get back at Baron? Wow. He doesn't know how many callers are after his hand, does he?
I must win. That is my truest objective in this world.
So they bring him back, so I guess this is the guy who we end up playing the card game against.
Your kid's missing a few chickens, you know that? What's any of this got to do with me?
This is really another great point where I probably would be more engaged in the story and not feel like the story is too long if they gave me just like a one-turn puzzle to solve of the card game. Just give me something to do here besides either clicking forward or just putting it in auto mode.
I must congratulate you. Your skill is admirable.
Like win and one turn puzzles would be very appreciated for this card game because there aren't any of that. Also, I'd say Shadowverse has several features that are not fleshed out as well as they should be, where it feels like this story mode's budget could have been spent better. Like a friend system and private game system that exists here is pretty bad. There's no way to make a private game and just join somebody else's private games, and yet there are daily quests that often ask you to play private games during certain events. So the only way you can ever play a private game is to either have actual friends who can fairly quickly text you the private game ID number, or you go onto Discord for Shadowverse and see that a bunch of people are posting the numbers online. It's not a good system. A lot of there are several filtering functions that would be slightly more helpful in the card organization. There's a lot of multiplayer modes that cost some kind of currency, whether in-game or real-world currency, and that doesn't really give you an opportunity to play when you want to play. So they're trying to do a whole duel.
I see. Of course it would end up like this. What a wonderful murder. 2 shots in one instant. Disarm me with one, pierce my heart with the other.
Call that little ditty my insurance policy. You'd have been double toast without that knife.
What a complete and utter disaster. I bid you a very swell adieu.
Of course, this is the second time you've thought.
Yep, as a doornail. Creepy son of a gun, weren't you?
Just constantly shoot him.
I don't got the nerves to keep fighting weirdos like you. Hope you're it. Oh, the garrison. I've got to get to the garrison. Let's get to hopping.
And then it oddly just leaves you here, which it gives you an opportunity to look down the alleyway for what little that matters. It shows a lack of creativity in the storytelling. I think that so many of these chapters have so many instances that occur in dark alleyways. Although I guess maybe in Japan there are more prevalent instances of there being alleyways of sorts. So to a Japanese person that might feel very normal. 2 more chapters. Takes forever. And we kind of know the story's not going to go very far here. If anything, we'll just be introduced to a big bad guy, or a point in the story where several people converge.
Though she's awful late.
Where the hell is Cecil? No idea. I think he infested a few folk around here, but
interesting
infested
story, but that's enough babble out of you.
People.
Game's up.
They ought to know by now that I'd have a tougher time killing flies than
I don't know why they didn't animate these guys to have their guns
not as scary as your boss.
ready in the first place. It seems like there's going to be absolutely no scenario where
that walking pile of money and
where they aren't shooting at somebody or at least threatening somebody.
You, sir, don't know what he's capable of.
Guess not. Never seen him. And he won't have time to show me when I meet him.
He's above trash rats like yourself. Above all of us unrefined life forms. He is the greatest man to ever exist.
Interesting.
No one can match him. Not even his most humble servant Zessel.
I let this jaw flap too much.
Magic? From a small fry? No. Something don't sit right.
Twould seem we've been given the good fortune to meet again, Spectre.
That name sounds funny coming out the mouth of a spooky fella like you.
So Zessel
Now I take
can be killed multiple times because he's infected in a lot of people.
My. Someone came with his dancing boots on. Reminds me of when I lost to that tiny gal. Fast as a rabbit she was.
What have you done to Bunny?
Ask not what I've done to the hair. Ask what the hair has done to me. It was your partner who shot me clean through the gut and straight through the spine. But don't you just love that? Lose a little blood for the battle. Spill a lot of blood to win the war. Sweetens the whole experience.
So, like, the entirety of this chapter seems to really just be a very slow build-up to introducing Zessel and his magical abilities as a bad guy. And that might be fine, but I don't even know if he's going to be the big bad guy for every character, or if he's just the big bad guy for these characters.
It's been forever and a day since I've had such a glorious loss. I must taste defeat again.
Zessel Venshi must have delayed Bunny, keeping her from attacking the garrison in time.
It certainly does change the story quite a bit too if you have a bad guy that can infest other people. That means you have to basically kill everybody around.
I do love a good frolic.
And I doubt they're willing to say that he managed to infest Bunny.
Think I prefer it this way. Game's more interesting when you're playing with a bad hand.
Well, aren't you a peacock charmed by his own feathers?
Still way too much jargon.
I said, see for yourself.
Peacock indeed. With how you love to strut. Should I have purchased admission to this show?
No, my friend.
Hurry up, game. Hurry up.
I couldn't agree more.
I had actually thought that maybe we could have done all 4 of the stories in 1 hour. Man, I was wrong about that. That definitely goes to show that I don't remember how long each character's story was in the previous chapters. It has been several months since I've gone through any of these storylines.
Your jamming is a thing of beauty, all right.
Of course, the problem here also is that this is probably the 3rd or 4th visual novel style game that I've played in the last year and the last 12 months. And I definitely didn't intend for that to happen. Like, because frankly, visual novels are not really worth the time commitment for me. I have yet to find one that I really enjoyed.
Come on, killer. Dance with a dead man.
My magical reserves don't hold a candle to yours. I shouldn't have invited myself to this little soiree.
That is kind of the problem with Magic.
That's okay. These losses make the finale that much sweeter.
Is he capable of making multiple copies of himself at the same time, or just one?
Coward. Let's hope you win next time.
Yeah, the problem with Magic is the idea that whoever has the most unexplainable magical powers, more than likely,
Chase him down, but watch yourself.
yeah, whatever. I don't even know what I was gonna say there. Just
the dance don't ever end, does it?
if I am gonna follow a story where magic exists, I want there to be some limitations and explanations, even if they're pointless, unscientific explanations. I don't want somebody to just be limited by their imagination or the story writer's imagination.
Unless you're hungry to make more corpses.
The killing don't bother me much. It's my good name. A reputation has to stand on its own.
You would think you could have ended the story after Zessel died the second time.
It's plain enough.
You'll rue the day you ever opposed Lord Shillandrig.
Maybe, but ruin won't kill me.
What's funny is for all the gunplay in this story, there basically are no guns in any of the cards for the expansion.
A lawman?
Yeah, leave him to me.
What are you aiming at? This is...
No aim here, mister. I won't stand by and watch a fallen man get kicked around.
Everybody around here's lost their marbles.
No kidding. If Vincent hears about me letting a potential criminal get away and beating Icy's man to do it, he'll rip me a new one. Hey, you bunch of ice lickers! After all this is finished, all y'all are gonna help me write up your crime reports. Hear me?
Yes, it would be really...
You die now and those scales will never tip.
Yeah, it really feels like this might just be the end.
Are you all right?
And who knows what Arissa's been doing this whole time.
These injuries look pretty bad. Let me see if I can help.
Don't bother. I thank you kindly for your concern, but I'm not the favor-asking type.
And once again, Arissa is kind of like the only naive enough person to be the outsider in a story like this. If it had been the vampire guy wouldn't trust Baron at all.
She's either dumb as rocks or brave as a bullet ant. Doesn't seem like she's looking for a fight either way, though. Well, that's how it is then.
You trust me?
Not as far as you could throw me. But I know pure eyes when I see them. Arissa, you don't look much like you're from around these parts. So I'll give you a fair warning. This whole place is about to erupt into gunfire. Keep that head on your shoulders.
So fighting is going to start here soon. I had better do something.
It would be interesting if she said, "What's a gun?" and she didn't know what guns are. Because it's not like we've seen any other gun characters in any of the other worlds. Well, I guess there were cannons in the robot world.
And without so much as a scratch, no wonder they call you Spectre. Ah, what's this? What gall you have to hide your injuries from me? Your jamming is good, but not that good. Those cuts on your arms are Zesselvench's handiwork, all right. And your face.
Quit your peeping.
Honey pie, how are you gonna work for me with your moneymaker all roughed up? It's not becoming.
Couldn't let the plan fail.
Fair enough. Besides, you've already done a good job. There are palpitations in the air. Reveal is positively rumbling with them. Best be
It's
prepared
basically nothing to say here, so I'm just sitting in silence, man.
So business as usual.
If you say so.
The card that this character represents is a pretty decent card. I think, destroys 2 of your opponent's characters or allies or amulets, and then or something like that. It may be. It's a rather complicated card, actually. I think it summons 2 characters on the opponent's side that then have a death rattle that summons 2 characters on your side, and then it gives you a spell, I think, that destroys all but 3 things on your opponent's side. But yeah, it's a pretty good card. I feel like we're not even going to get a explanation as far as whatever that magic bullet was that we were handed. 3.5 megabytes for this final chapter.
Hear the news about Bunny and Baron?
Yesterday, right? They got in a scuffle with Ice's people.
Picking a fight with the Titans? Shoo, ain't that something?
11 chapters to...
They made it out alive, without a scratch on them.
To, I guess...
No lie. Hell of a pair, those 2.
Create a situation where a rebellion might happen.
Start thinking like our bandit friends.
They shoot the rich but leave the poor be. Is that really true?
Can't say for certain, but they let you go with your life, didn't they?
Yeah, but they gave me a whooping all right. Now, don't let Vincent hear me say this, but I kind of hope they keep up this whole bleeding heart business.
Where am I?
Pleasant dreams.
Haven't had dreams in years, not.
Oh, meaning everything you see is pure reality? My quaint little pilgrim.
Excuse me, ma'am.
And see, they introduce a new character.
Just as you imagined, Mistress Knott. Everybody and their mama's talking about Bunny and Baron. Public opinion against Ishilindrix at an all-time high.
Brilliant. You may leave.
Ma'am.
Spectre, it's taken me some time, but I'm finished preparing the stage for your grand debut. You just tell me when you're ready to start the show, okay, Shook?
I'm not in the business of giving orders to my patron's cursed queen. Whatever you got up your sleeve, you put it there for yourself.
My, you do have a knack for seeing things as they are. Whoever takes down Icy gets his syndicate. I'll take him for everything he's worth until he doesn't have a crumb of cash to his name.
Then I'll settle for his titanhood, to take command of his pack.
Yeah? And what will you accomplish by doing that? Gonna go after Vincent?
Yep. And you after him.
How fearsome.
Like basically nothing to say here.
Meet under the clock tower.
All right, yeah, this is the story. It is what it is. It's a slightly better, I think, than previous stories, but it's not really going anywhere fast, and it's not really doing anything. And it seems like it's not gonna have any real twists or anything. There's too many unimportant characters in the story by far, and arguably not enough interaction between the important characters.
Let's head to Spurdawn. Or maybe someplace else. I bet the barkeep's still pissed at us.
Bunny, duty calls.
Again?
Yep. Our most important job yet.
What are we swiping this time? Money? Coal?
Shillendrig's throne.
Huh.
Had words with Not. Her people will back us up to the bitter end.
We talking war?
Annihilation. We'll destroy this world and make it anew.
You sure we can do it?
What are you afraid of? Specters don't die, do they? This is what we've been working toward. Now come on. This world won't change without us, Bunny.
I hear you, Baron.
Yeah.
Boy, howdy. I wish we could have went to Spurdawn one last time.
It kind of feels like Bunny does have a crush on him, but she doesn't seem to really know it.
Yeah, that's grim as hell. But it is Bunny and Baron. Don't care if the poor folk die.
High and mighty fools.
Time he got thrown off his high horse.
Street rats of Reveal.
What's going on now?
Oh no. That voice.
Your Titan of Force, Not, stands before you now.
And there's another guy in the background.
You already know I love a little fear, and I would use any tool in my hands to get y'all riled up. Won't spare any mercy for my enemies. Wouldn't spare a whim for most other folk. But today, dear friends, I've caught a whiff of inspiration. Yes, to damn day I'm gonna kill me a Titan. And these two are gonna ensure the deed gets done.
It's kind of weird to show off people that are also blurring.
That Bunny and Baron?
Yeah, how do you recognize them when they're blurring their faces the whole time?
I'm fed up with this damn world. I've never had nothing. And nobody's ever paid me more than a couple thoughts at most.
This is an interesting backgrounds they're using now.
I've had to dance in the palms
They
of the Titans.
almost certainly could have used it earlier
Dodge their boots like I was some kind of roach.
instead of the alleys.
Sure plenty of you have suffered too.
I guess we're just getting the big speech now.
Roaches were made for.
Man, it's been an hour and 50 minutes.
Plenty more of us. Plenty more of us have been stomped on and exterminated. But I'm fed up. We're weak. And I'm fed up with that weakness.
This really is a story that I wouldn't have bothered to even listen to if I wasn't making YouTube content on it.
And destroy the way this world works. And if not, to hell with all of Reveal anyway. I won't beg. That's beneath us. But if you're tired of living day in and day out with no rhyme or reason, well,
it definitely feels like everything boils down to war in the minds of the writers. And this really feels more like a rebellion than a war.
I still don't know much about this world, but I know it's in trouble, so I have to help.
It's you from before.
Yes.
And this would probably be the...
I'm here to fight the enemies of your world.
This would be the last chance for anybody else from the main character set to show up.
Schillendrig's reign of tyranny is over.
If there's anything we can contribute, we'll do it.
That's a weird voice.
If Not-Not's behind you, and so are we.
We'll show those rich bootlickers what they deserve.
Wow.
And
they're lit up.
see,
That's
quite a leap here that all of a sudden they're now swordcraft characters with a whole army rebellion.
Well, aren't you as cute as a kitten in a cornfield? Let's peek through that spell. Get a good look at you. Oh, Baron, didn't think you'd like these plain-looking gals.
Of course he likes me. I don't stuff dead bodies in boxes.
I love that unorthodox humor. But y'all had better keep me laughing.
Sorry, bud. Won't be long now.
Yeah, I know. Just feels like we're about to attack a giant with a pea shooter is all.
At least we can steer our future.
Sure hope so.
This might be our last job, Bunny.
There's basically nothing to say here. Man, I keep saying that too. It's just like slowly spoken.
Who take from the haves and bring balance.
I suppose it is also worth mentioning that usually when I'm listening to any kind of dialogue on YouTube, in particular, I play it at double speed because it's just, for me, it seems incredibly slow otherwise. There's an argument to be made, like, I know for a fact that this expansion, this story came out, and then it was, probably a week or two until this expansion story came out, and then a week or two later for this, and a week or two later for this, which does make an interesting argument that why not just have the main story be about Baron and Bunny and Orisa. We also have to wonder now, next time when we do Miser, is Miser going to run into other characters other than Orisa from the original collection of characters or not? And we're really not going to get any conclusion to any of the stories until we do the conclusion. So, yeah. There's no reason to drag my feet. Let's just wrap up here. Next time we'll do Miser's story, and hopefully it's different, but I suspect it really won't be. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon. Or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.